It's time for the Game Show Fans Podcast with Josh and Danny. Hello, and welcome to the Game Show Fans Podcast. I am the ever-vigilant host, Josh McLeod. Today with me, as always, is my compatriot,
Danny Lewis.
And sitting next to him is the great semi-regular on our podcast.
This is X Factor Gaming.
And we have a special guest for today's podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Jacob Richardson.
And today we're going to be talking about game show-themed video games.
Yeah, so who wants to talk first?
I'll go first since I went last time, unless someone else wants to.
Whatever happened to the magical number generator?
It died a slow and painful death at the hands of Gary Busey.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, there it is. Right now, there we go. The magic number generator has given us a number. And that number is...
I'm recording a podcast right now.
Okay, thank you. I'm reporting a... Wait a minute, that's not a number.
And watch your language.
Oh, my God.
So, I guess
Language. This is a family show.
Yeah, well, now we gotta bleep that. I hope you're happy. I'm talking about my personal favorite game show-themed video game, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire games. Did anybody have any of the original ones for PlayStation or PC back in the 90s?
Does the Tiger Electronic handheld count? I still have that one.
Yeah,
somewhere.
sure, why not? How did that one... Did that one come with little cards, or did that one have...
No, it came with a question book.
Oh, okay.
That I've lost since then. Let's see, I have that one, I have Wheel of Fortune, and I have Jeopardy somewhere. Not Wheel of Fortune. I do actually have the Wheel of Fortune, Hollywood Squares, Jeopardy, and the Millionaire one. My Millionaire one actually got stolen. I still have the other three.
I remember the Price is Right one came with little cards for the value of the prices of the objects.
I can't imagine how a Price is Right handheld would work.
Now, wait a second. You said your copy got stolen?
Yes.
Yeah, explain this. I feel like there's more to that story.
I think, if I remember correctly, I was in band in high school. We were on a football trip or something. I let somebody else play it. They never gave it back.
Oh, so it was gifted without intent of return in that instance.
Same thing. Yeah, but yeah. I told them to give it back, and they never did. I got the book back, but I didn't get the game back.
Well, that kind of defeats the purpose of whatever. So the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I had the version for PC for a long time. And that was always my favorite. It took me forever to win the $1 million. And I remember the very first time I won the $1 million on that game. The question was, who is the oldest member of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young?
And you couldn't pull a John Carpenter and say, I don't really need your help. You couldn't pull a Carpenter and call your dad and say, I don't really need your help. I just wanted you to know that I'm going to win the $1 million.
Actually, I was like 10 years old at the time. And so I had to call my dad. Dad, who is the oldest member of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young? And he did know the answer. So. And by the way, they don't give you the option of calling you just got to pause the game and shout to your loved ones.
I thought they had buttons for the lifelines. The Tiger version did.
They did, but I added it. But like the lifelines were, I took the sure thing and asked my dad because I knew he would know for sure.
The lifelines on the game versions are kind of useless.
Yeah, on the recent ones now, especially because I think they're just based on like a random guess. Like I have the version that Ludia put out for Wii and for the DS, and
I have the DS version.
Anytime you ask the audience or phone a friend, it literally says the same thing every time. I don't know. I think it's, and then it gives you the letter answer, but not the actual word itself. On the original one, they actually would ask the question to the person on the phone, and they would give you some kind of guess that they legitimately thought it was.
I think the only useful lifeline there was the ask the audience, and that was even a 50-50.
But they polled for those games, they actually polled an audience, or polled some group to see.
Yeah, they had to vote it too.
Yeah, they actually did poll an audience for the games. I don't know if obviously it wasn't polled when you asked the question, it was polled in advance, but still, that was a little bit more useful than what they did on the later games.
And the most useful lifeline was
I remember back when I was younger, there was in the Lion King version, it's a Millionaire. It's basically a parody of Millionaire, like King of the Jungle.
Oh, didn't Meredith Vieira host that?
Yes, she did. She did.
I need to see that. I never had that DVD. so I need to see that.
Lion King. The movie is called Lion King 1.5.
I know.
Special edition.
Regis hosted the versions for PC and PlayStation, so.
Yeah, that.
But he didn't ask the questions. You had to read them, which takes effort. So I was a little angry about that.
Wow.
Regis was probably tired of reading the questions on the show.
Exactly.
They have on the Ludia ones. They have some random voice read them now. So
yeah, and it might be the same voice that they use for all their other games, which we'll get into a little later.
I think it is, but yeah. So buy the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game for PlayStation, unless you don't have a PlayStation, and so then don't buy it.
Buy it on the DS.
Buy it on the DS.
Easy solution, emulate it.
Hey, that's illegal. Wink, wink.
Not anymore. It's not. I don't think Sony cares.
Just because they don't care doesn't mean it's illegal. Doesn't mean that doesn't void the illegality of it. Anyway, so who wants to go next?
I think Richard.
Rich, great, you go next.
Where should I start? I have American Gladiator, every variation of American Gladiators minus the NES version because it's not worth talking about, and the 2 Double Dare versions that I know about. The 2 Double Dares are basically the same, except the color palettes are different on the DOS version, obviously, because it's a computer version. Follows the show really well, and Josh, you may not like this one because yes, it does have Mount Say Double Dare in it, and I know you don't like that obstacle that much.
I like the original one on the original show. I don't like the one on the new show.
Anyway, for American Gladiators, the only difference is the Super Nintendo version has the awful human cannonball that I've never been able to win. Well, the Genesis version comes with, let's see, it's Atmosphere, and no, this is in no order, by the way. Assault, Atmosphere, Wall, Powerball, Eliminator, and what was that other one?
Cannonball?
No, Cannonball was in the Super Nintendo version. But I really think Cindy was too harsh on these. They're way better than what she says about it.
When did you get
Rich.
Say it again?
Rich, when did you get the game?
When did you get it?
I had them as a kid, but I bought them again like a couple of years ago. I now own all 3 of them, but I don't touch the NES version. It's too hard and doesn't follow the show well enough.
Is that one where do you have to beat like all the events in order to get to the Eliminator?
Yes. The NES one's like a gauntlet of events. And the NES version has 4 different levels.
So it's like
the events get harder as you progress in level.
So it's like track and field. You have to beat all the levels before you can reach the final level.
Yes, and the NES version of the wall is unbeatable. They made it way too long. If anybody's ever seen To the Eliminator Without a Password, I have to see this.
Watch. I don't know if it was was it? Yeah, I think it was the NES version. Did you ever see Game Show Reviewer do a live play of the game?
Is that the same guy that does the Sarah Sideshow stuff?
Yeah, he did a live play last year, and I think he made it through the wall.
I need to know how to do that. I wouldn't bother unless you have like a joystick or something, because you have to use the D-pad to climb.
The NES Advantage, or whatever that controller they put out was.
I think I have one of those, actually. I thought the Advantage was the turbo stick.
Maybe. I know there was...
No, that's the NES. The NES Max is the turbo stick. The Advantage is the joystick.
The one with the little switches that help you... What do you call those things? The switches that, rapid fire. Thank you. Rapid switches. So where you press it once and it thinks you pressed it a bunch of times. Yeah.
I would say, on the whole, the PC version of Double Dare is better. But if I can add one, I'd like to also talk about a DOS game that could have been picked up by... There's a show by the name of Combination Lock that was almost brought to television by John Ricci. I had it as a kid.
Oh, I think I saw that.
That game is actually really fun to play.
I need to look for that.
It's on every Abandonware site now, but you'll need DOSBox to emulate it.
Wow, we're just waiting for the lawsuits to come in, aren't we? Encouraging emulation.
Oh yeah.
So, Rich, anything else left to say on your games?
Other than Combination Lock being your generic trivia game, not really.
Okay then. I guess that leaves you, Dan.
Yeah. All right. me and Jake are gonna cover 3 different Ludia game show games that all came out around the same time period. The first one we're gonna cover is a game that I have posted many gameplays of my own on my YouTube channel, Pressure Luck, 2010 edition.
Because it doesn't have the right theme.
Right. Well, it has the pilot theme, not the official theme.
The show's coming back, from what I understand.
That's true.
The pilot theme is so reversed.
It's the worst?
No, reversed. That sounded reversed.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, it's an actual track that you can get like from a production music library. You can get it for like 30 cents, and you can use it. It's like royalty-free music. And then they made a version based on it for the actual show.
Yeah, I think the actual song is called Flash, I think.
I didn't even know that the pilot's theme from Pressure Luck was the 2010, the Ludia version of the song.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
I thought it was a crappy Ludia-made version.
Oh, no.
Nope. They did some effective research, I guess.
Yeah. So let's talk about the game. So they played it like normal Pressure Luck. They had a question round, then a spin round, then a question round, then another spin round with just more money on it. So let's talk about some of the question writing that they had on the Pressure Luck game. Jake, what do you have to say about that?
I would say that they need to get more questions instead of the same ones over and over again. And basically, like, ask about, like, history lessons and fractions, like the original show.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, some of the questions on this game, they vary from either really easy to really obscure or dumb. Because one of the questions, I swear, one of the questions was, what number should come next in the sequence? 1, 2, 3, 4, blank. And like...
Pi!
8. And another one of the questions was, which animal provides us the milk that we drink? And let's take a look at... I have some pictures of these questions pulled up here. I'm going to read them off.
Okay, go ahead.
Which animal provides us the
What kind of question is that?
Here are the choices. Great white shark, marbled murrelet, or cow, or eastern bluebird. Now, I'm looking at these questions from Wii Viewer's video that he did of this game back in 2009. He did a very good review of it.
Do you know what a marbled murrelet is?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave my comments at the door, seriously.
Rich, do you know what a marbled murrelet is?
I've never heard that term in my life.
It's basically it's like a waterfowl. It's kind of like a duck.
Yes.
My only question was, how would you get milk from a shark? But come to think of it, I don't want to know.
Fingerless farmers. Are sharks mammals? Sharks aren't even mammals. They're fish.
No.
What about a baby shark?
Don't sing the song, please.
What other questions are there? I know there are more. Were there other like super easy questions?
Other super. Hold on. One of them was in which capital city was the Tower Bridge erected? But that's not. Really
That's not too easy. I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, I don't know.
What are the
Well,
choices?
at least that's a reasonable question. But wait, here's another stupid one. If there are 4 pretzels in a bag and you need 20 pretzels, how many bags should you get?
Why would you?
What's 20 divided by 4? I don't know.
5.
Yeah, it's 5. Yeah, good job, Rich. Anyway, and
Patricia Keaton might have trouble with that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roasted. Okay. But so more about the questions. You as you progress through the game, your computer for the first like 10 games or so, your computer players are very stupid and won't get any of the questions right. But by the time you get to the 19th or 20th game, they're very smart. So I don't know if that's flawed or I don't know. Leave that. Do whatever.
Or what they've been taking.
Yeah.
Oh,
By the time you get to the 20th game in your run, they become really smart. If you watch the games 1 through 8 that I have posted on my YouTube channel, you should know.
Mm.
Did they get really lucky when it gets to the thing? Did they figure out the way to cheat? Oh, do we want to go to the big board?
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's talk about.
Do they larcenize the board, basically?
Well, let's see.
Let him talk about it, and you'll see.
So after the first question round, we go to the big board round, which, I mean, the graphics for the board round aren't bad, but one of the major flaws with the Pressure Luck Wii game board is they only have one prize on it. You have a lot of cash. You have $700, $1,250, $500 on a spin. They put an add of 1 there, which is good. But the only prize you have in this entire game is a trip, and its image is an airplane.
What?
And in round 1, you land on the square, and the announcer, who is the same announcer for a few other games from Ludia, he says, "You won a trip, a value of $3,000, but it's worth $4,000 round 2."
And every trip costs the same thing.
Yeah, and that's the only price you get. You don't get the location. You just say, "Oh, it's a trip for $3,000." Oh, thanks.
I've also heard reviews that said that there's also a problem with the light patterns. Like they're not always random.
Let's hear about it. Okay, so here's the light patterns. You get basically there's no specific light sequence like Larson did. It is a random square sequence.
There's no flashing.
Yeah. But it flashes 3 different boards on you. One in the first round. One of them has, I think, 2 or 3 whammies on it. The next one has 6 whammies. But the next board of flashes absolutely has no whammies. So if you play in the game, all you have to do is wait for that board to show up and hit the A button and stop, and you're guaranteed not to hit on a whammy. Of course, most people don't have the patience or hand-eye coordination to do that, like me. But play the game.
Kind of makes shouting no whammies at the TV really pointless.
Yeah. What do you get when you win?
Huh?
What do you get for winning?
Nothing. You just get. Oh wait. When you win, you get another thing added to your wardrobe for your character.
Wow. Oh.
What?
Uselessness.
Wouldn't it have been cool if it had been, I get that there's like a reason they can't do it because of legal reasons, but wouldn't it have been cool if they put the clips from the show?
That would be good. They did that.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Because I like the intros of that show.
I kind of would like them to do a newer version of Price is Right if at all possible, with Carrie instead of Barker.
Okay. So let's. Okay.
Carrie looks really weird with cover glasses instead of the black one you always wear.
Oh. So that's the first 2 rounds of the pressure lock. Then you have another question round, same concept. Then you get to the second big board round, which they have some good prizes on there. They have the $4,000 trip, and they added a double your money plus a spin square, which is very useful if you have like over $20,000-$30,000 in the game. I think the most money I've ever gotten in a pressure luck game, like not the one that I film on my YouTube, one time I won like $50,000 based on a double your money, square. So not quite Larson, but he'd be impressed.
Shame no one ever doubled the money on the actual show. Like I don't think anyone ever hit that square.
No, people hit it, but they barely had any money. Yeah. Imagine if they had the double your money square when Larson was on.
It does, but it's randomized, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. So what's the next? Go ahead.
Do you guys have anything else you'd like to say about the pressure luck game for the Wii?
They need to add some chairs to it.
They are sitting in pressure luck.
No, they're standing in the Wii version. They're standing.
Okay.
Ages 3 and up for this game.
Yeah. Ages 3 to 5. No. Okay. Yeah. So that's pressure luck. I mean, I enjoy playing it, but there's many flaws to it. The questions need to be harder. But I like how the board is fixed, so you can't land on a whammy at a certain time. So yeah. Pressure luck.
And they de-Larsonized the board apparently.
No, I think they kind of Larsoned it, but not quite. Okay, that's pressure luck for you. It was much better than the 2006 DVD game that came out with Todd Newton.
I still think the best version of pressure luck was. I still think the best pressure luck version, if anybody's played it, was the old Crossbearer version of it.
For DOS?
No, for Windows.
No, we never had that.
I don't think it's even findable anymore, to be honest. You can if you get lucky, because the site that it was on, Crossbearer Software, is dead now.
I'm sure someone has it, but go ahead, Dan.
All right, the next Ludia game we're going to talk about is the $1 Million Pyramid, which failed to live up to a lot of fans' expectations.
Mine included. I had it. Unfortunately, that was the very first game I ever bought on the Wii, and I'm embarrassed to say it.
That was your first Wii game?
Yes.
How bad was it?
Not named Wii Resort. That came with it and didn't count.
Jake, have you played the $1 Million Pyramid for the Wii?
I have not, but I heard of it though.
Be thankful you haven't played it.
Yeah. Tim Connolly, also known as Lugaroo1, he had a review of it a while back on YouTube. I don't think it's up anymore, but he basically trashed the whole game, and rightly so.
He trashed it?
Yeah,
he didn't throw it in the trash. He just said bad things about it.
He tore the game apart.
Oh, okay. So he did trash it.
Well, pretty much. He probably wanted to throw it in the trash after he played it. If you watch
he broke the case. So he means it's dismantled.
Yeah.
Oh, and when you get to Hollywood Squares, I actually have a funny story about that one too.
Okay, we'll save that later. No problem. Okay, so $1 Million Pyramid. The cover of the game has the classic pyramid logo that all game show fans know and love. But when you pop in the game is modeled after the Donny Osmond set, the Donny set, which most people don't like anyway.
Describe the gameplay, Dan.
Okay, the gameplay. Okay, so instead of on the show for Donny Mid, they had instead of having 7 items in 30 seconds on the Donny Mid show, you had to get 6 items in 20 seconds, which most people thought was bad. But in the game, you have a minute to get 6 things, and also it's very convenient. So you get a category, and you get to play with a fake celebrity the game is created for you.
Oh God.
And well, they're not bad. So you get the category, and they give you clues. Most of the clues are very good. And so you hit A if you have an answer, if you have an idea of what the answer might be. And it's convenient that every time you try to answer, the clock pauses so you have as much time as you can to type an answer. But one of the things that the game, I noticed this with Family Feud as well. If the first 2 letters of the word aren't in the choices, it's not the right answer. So if you're thinking a certain answer and it doesn't show up in the choices within the first 2 letters, it's not there. That's how it is. So yeah, you get the 6 things in 60 seconds of the game, and it's the same. It goes the same with Pressure Luck in terms that your computer opponents are very stupid at the beginning, but somehow get very smart towards the end.
It's text clues only, isn't it?
Yeah, it's text clues. Yeah, you don't have.
Why would somebody do that?
Well, that's not. I mean, that's more convenient on the game makers than having someone say it. But I don't know.
Lame.
Oh, by the way, if you guys have Nodia, please do not play that game because the graphics look really, really bad.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
Okay.
So yeah, $1 Million Pyramid made after the Donny Mid set. The bonus round isn't really exciting. But I noticed one of Tim Connolly's issues with this game is that you get so in the game you complete a round after the game.
Yeah.
I can't even talk. So you have the most points. You go to the winner's circle, which is the same concept. And for winning one winner's circle, you win $1 million. And one of Tim's biggest issues was that you really didn't have a pot of gold to chase after. Like on the show, there would be a tournament to see who would really win $100,000. So it's not like you would win $100,000 willy-nilly for winning one game, as it is in the pyramid game on the Wii.
Yeah.
So my opinion of the $1 Million Pyramid, it's not great, but I liked it better than Tim did. What do you guys think?
I didn't. Go ahead, Rich.
It's complete butt.
Yeah, I never. Well, I guess I should shut up on because I never played it. But I'm just looking at it from what it is and looking at the gameplay of it. It does look like I don't like that you can just basically cheat your way to win. It looks so boring. You take a very exciting game and you make it super boring.
It is boring. I will say that.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Speaking of boring, the third and last Ludia game we're going to talk about is Hollywood Squares. Rich, tell that story you wanted to tell earlier.
Basically, that was one of the first 3 games I got, but the first copy I got of it, I couldn't figure out how to make the stupid thing work. Turns out Best Buy sold me a defective copy. I had to go back and get one that actually worked. And the bad part is, I don't have a Best Buy here. I had to drive 90 miles just to take the thing back.
Not worth the wait. Go ahead,
It
Dan.
wasn't worth the wait. That game stunk anyway.
God damn
I
it.
sold it about a couple of weeks later.
You sold your own copy?
Yes.
Lucky.
It wasn't stolen?
No. I wish it had. That's the one I wish
Oh,
had stolen.
No, they stole it and then they put it back because the thieves didn't like Hollywood Squares either. Josh, have you played this version?
I never played it. I've only seen the Wii Viewer review of it.
Right, how about you, Jake? Jake, did you play Hollywood Squares for the?
I never played that. Sorry, I was too busy.
Okay. Well, I played it, so I can talk about it. Talk about how it works. So, you in the game, they give you 4 different celebrities to play through each week. The first week, you play through 5 shows. The first week it's Brad Garrett, then it's Kathy Griffin, then it's Martin Mull, and then it's Jeffrey Tambor. That order could be wrong, but those are the 4 celebrities that they got for the show. And every time that celebrity would be in the center square. And when you click on the center square, a clip of them from the show, you would have a question from the show, and you would agree or disagree based on that, which is pretty. But for all the other celebrities, they're just people with only one first name. Like there's Richard, people named Kurt, Donna, Blake, named whatever. And,
I remember Bert. He was super famous.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they got him for the game.
And here's another time where Ludia's question writing laziness is shown in pure here. Let's see. Some of the questions, like Press Your Luck, the questions are either really easy or really dumb, or really obscure or difficult. Have you guys ever watched the Game Grumps?
I saw one of their first videos I saw them when they first came out, and I was like, wow, this sucks. This will go nowhere. Shows you what I know.
Yeah. But Game Grumps had several very hilarious gameplays of Hollywood Squares for the Wii. I recommend you check them out. I might put a link to it below. But some of the questions that they had on their let's take a look. Some of these are pretty dumb. Okay, what is added to make a dish Parmigiana style?
Motor oil?
The answer is Parmesan cheese. But here's where it really gets bad.
What?
The bluffs, the lies that the celebrities tell to get the contestants to believe them. The bluff for this question, the guy said beans. And I'm like, come on, beans aren't Parmesan.
No, beans, you know the rest.
That's con arroz, or frijoles. Everyone knows that.
Well, beans, you know the rest.
Another bad question was, what type of animal is a tarantula?
Who writes these questions? That was my.
I know.
The answer is arachnid, but the bluff answer was mammal.
Names.
Video games got the worst questions.
Okay. Here's a really stupid one. What does the rating E stand for when a video game is playable for all ages?
Evisceration?
In some cases, yes.
The bluff answer was elephant. So yeah.
Again, hey, who is right? Is Mark Goodson writing these bluffs?
No. You probably think you was.
As we all know, it's elephant 10 plus. T-bolt square.
Actually, T is Tyrannosaurus.
Mandible joint. And all orangutans.
Yes.
That's the rating systems.
Yeah, the answer is that's the answer totally.
And I don't think there actually exists a game rated AO. That's a movie rating, I think.
No, it is, but like they're not allowed to sell them in America.
Yeah.
There was one, but it got pulled for being. Oh, I'll get
being
that
AO.
off camera.
Yeah, Sydney did a review of this same game and said that they made Hollywood Squares boring, which I agree with. So anyway, back to that. The Wii game plays 2003 to 2004 style on Hollywood Squares when they played best 2 out of 3 rounds, as they did in most of the pure martial versions.
I'll just say this.
Yeah, what?
When the NES version of Hollywood Squares is better than a modern version, you know you screwed up the modern one.
Did the NES version have zingers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go.
They were bad.
I forgot there was an NES
They were bad, but they weren't as bad as this one.
That's true. No, this version didn't even have zingers at all.
Really?
Other than the celebrities.
Yeah. So it was boring in that way. So they played 2 out of 3 rounds. And another flaw with this game is that the player who is X always goes first, no matter what. So if you're playing this with a friend, feel bad for the person who's O.
Even if the O won the round?
Yeah, the X always goes first. I think.
Tell me one thing. Did they botch it up like MGHSH did of having you get the square even if, like, let's say your opponent
they didn't do that. They didn't make it you win by the ball.
They give you the square anyway.
You still had to earn the winning square yourself.
Good. I hate that rule on that show.
Yeah, MGHS was the only version to ever do that.
And that was never made into a video game, thankfully.
I'd like to see an MGHS hour video game, though. That would be interesting.
There was a computer game made by Ryan Morris, but it's not findable anymore.
Oh, well. So the bonus round of this Hollywood Squares game, it played like in the bonus round of the 2002 to 2004 version of that show.
Stupid car game?
Yeah, it was the car game. Well, no.
The key game?
They just had
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
It was the key game. Yeah, it was the key game. And in the video game, you just had the save. On the show, one day you play for a safe, one day you play for a car. But on the show,
basically like 1998 version, like when you pick a star, you get the.
Yeah, it wasn't modeled after that one. But
oh wow.
And that's why there was no Whoopi Goldberg in this game, which would probably make it better, though. Not to be honest.
If they do.
So, but the only redeeming quality this game has is that they actually brought in Tom Bergeron to read in all of the stupid questions for the computer celebrities. So he donated his time, probably unknowingly, to this game.
I don't know if he donated it so much as he got money. So.
Oh, that's true. You're right. I shouldn't have said that. Donated his time, but Tom Bergeron, if you're listening, we love you. Yeah, Hollywood Squares for the Wii. It makes you want to watch the Whoopi Goldberg version. Actually, the 1998 to 2002 era of Squares is my favorite version.
Yeah, me too.
It'll make you want to watch Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour.
Yeah, probably.
I don't enjoy that.
You're never gonna let that hate boner go away for that show, are you, Rich?
I actually sort of like the show. It's really easy to pick on.
Yeah. So I guess that's it.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay,
I have
cool.
every game. I have all of those Ludia games.
I think there might be one more, but I could be completely wrong on that.
I had Jeopardy for the Sega CD. That was fun.
That's actually a pretty good game.
And it breaks, but the problem is because it's on CD, it breaks super easy. So
I
guess.
used to have a Jeopardy. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, are you anything more to say about Jeopardy?
I used to have the Tiger version of Jeopardy as a
I
kid.
still do. The funny thing is, the questions on the Tiger version are harder than the ones on the show.
Yeah, it was. I beat it the first time, and it was so damn good.
There is another Ludia game, Press Your Luck Decades, anyone?
Press Your Luck
Did
Decades.
they really
No,
come
not
out
Press Your Luck, Price is Right.
Yeah. Oh, Price is Right Decades. Yeah. I have
And
that.
Family Feud Decades, too. There were still two more.
I have.
Do we
them.
wanna-
Actually,
I have
did
those.
Ludia do those, or did Endemol do those?
No,
That
Ludia
was
did
the-
them.
yeah, that was-
Endemol doesn't do games.
Thank God. They probably messed it up worse than Ludia did.
Let's see. Family Feud and The Price is Right are two of the better games Ludia has come out with.
Yeah.
And Wheel of Fortune.
I've heard mixed reviews on their Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy games.
It plays fairly accurate. It plays well. I'll say that. So, it's better than their version of Press Your Luck. So,
Hollywood.
yeah.
And
Hollywood Squares.
Oh,
So I guess that's it for this episode. Alrighty. Any last words?
If you guys would like to submit ideas for the podcast, just leave it in the comments below.
Yeah.
And if you want to order CD cassette copies, just look for my phone number.
Okay.
And never,
don't forget to drop a like too.
and
Yeah.
also destroy any Ludia game you have. That's not Price is That's not Price is Right or Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Price, or what was the other one? The other Decades, but Family Feud.
So that's it. Until next time, remember, it's hard to see the end when you're beginning.